Okay, boys and girls, I'm hoping that this is going to work. It keeps glitching for some reason, but it looks like it's working, so let's go with it. Okay, so as a part of our recount writing, one of the key features of a recount is learning to write in the first person, or it could be in the third person, depending on whether you were present at the thing that you are going to recount, the activity, the day or the event. So I decided, rather than just doing first and third, that we should just learn about them all. We have touched upon, I think it was persuasive writing, we touched upon first person, but I could be wrong. I'm sure it was first. I've got that many lessons in my head at the moment. I'm all a jumble, but I know we have touched upon it. So we are going to again look at this, and we are going to do a brief activity worksheet that will help us just imprint it into our brains so that we know when we come to a writing that basically this is when you edit, you want to make sure you're not jumping from first, second and third person. That was a mistake that I always used to do, and maybe you sometimes do that now, boys and girls, that you can jump from first, second and third person. So if you wanted to talk in the first person throughout your recount story, you might want to, when you're doing your editing, to go back and make sure you're using the right pronouns. But we're nowhere near that yet. So let's just concentrate on the first, second and third person and learning how to write in that way. Okay, so writing in first, second, third person is the point of view of the person writing it. So a story can be told from different points of view, okay? It can be written in the first, second or third person. I was going to the fun fair today. I was so excited. Have you ever wondered what life would be like as a superhero? The boys ran from the house screaming. Riley was terrified. Okay, so if you're writing a story in the first person, you write it as though you are the character inside the story, okay? Or it's from your point of view. So if you were writing an imaginative story and you were doing it in the first person, you may pretend that you are actually Harry Potter. You are pretending you're Harry Potter, but you would use pronouns like I. And that's when it becomes tricky, because when you are writing a story and if you are pretending to write from the viewpoint in the first person from the character in the story, it's easy to jump from third person to second person to first person. So it's important to be able to be really clear about what viewpoint you're writing from. So if you decide in a story you're going to write from the viewpoint of Harry Potter, and you are going to write it in the first person, you would use pronouns like my, me, mine, we, our, ours, and as, us. So you would describe how you would feel and what you're doing or what you have done as Harry Potter, okay? You would use the pronoun I. For example, last year I went to Spain with my family. I loved it. Now, you'll now quite clearly see how being able to write, excuse me, boys and girls, being able to write in the first person is important, because if we're writing a recount, we are writing about a memory that has already taken place, about an event that has already taken place in our past, probably a favourite holiday or a favourite meal or a favourite day at school, or so it's something that we're remembering, and it's something that's personal to us. So it's a personal story, a recount of a memory that's already happened. So that you'll see quite quickly why it's important to stick to the first person. The second person is when you use pronouns such as your and yours. So if you're writing in the second person, you're talking to the reader directly. So whoever's reading the story, you're actually talking to them. So you use the pronoun you. The second person is used a lot in non-fiction as well as in fiction texts. So, for example, before you begin, make sure that you have all the tools listed above. So the second person, you might actually be thinking now, what text might I see that in? And for example, straight away, instructional writing. So you might see this in a recipe or instructions to build a unit of some sort. So yeah, second person might be in one of those texts. The third person, if you're writing in the third person, you write about other people or characters. So you would use pronouns like her, hers, his, or theirs. So you would use the character's name or pronouns such as he, she, and they. So if you're writing in the third person and you say you're J.K. Rowling and you are writing the Harry Potter books, you would use the name Harry, the character's name Harry. Or you would write he, she, and they. Okay? For example, Michelle sped off at top speed and was soon in first place. She couldn't believe that she was going to win. So that gives you a nice example of how to use the third person. So what I want you to do now, boys and girls, is I want you to decide if the following sentences are in the first, second, or third person, okay? You might do this with someone at home that you might want to challenge with, see who gets the most points. It's up to you. If you don't have anybody to play a game with, then it's absolutely fine. You might just want to write in your remote learning jotter, sentence 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you could write first, second, third, or that's it. First, second, third person. So Sophie was going to the cinema to meet her friends. That's third person. Okay. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was incredible. Pause the video. That was first person. Next sentence. Where shall we go now? Wondered Tim and Holly as they sat in the car. Right, okay, you can pause the video and discuss with a friend, or you might want to write the answer down. Third person. Do you believe in ghosts? Well, after reading the stories, you will. Okay, pause the video. Second person. As I walked into my new school, my stomach churned and my hands began to shake. First, second, or third, boys and girls, pause the video. First person. Are you an early bird or are you a night owl? First, second, third, boys and girls. Second person. Okay. Next task. Change this passage from the first to the third person by changing the pronouns. So my advice to you, boys and girls, is you're going to write it all down. Okay? Going to write it all down. And then you might want to go through this with a rubber and then rub out all the pronouns. So that's I, my, you, whatever. So you rub it out. You might want to rewind this video to look at all the first pronouns and then rub it out. And then you might want to go back, fast forward it and look at all the third person pronouns and then change it. Okay, you're going to do that in your remote learning jotter. Pause the video now. Okay, boys and girls, so the answers are on the screen. You should have gotten some of the answers there. You might want to just self-mark that. It's entirely up to you, or you could send it in to me. You might have just wanted to see what you got right. Okay, now we're not going to do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move you on to your worksheet, okay? So I've attached a worksheet to this. I want you to complete that activity and send that template to me. Thank you. Goodbye.